Alright, so we're checking out the Axisflying Manta 3.6 in this video. So this one is a 3.6 inch quad or 3.6 inch prop quad, and yeah, runs a DJI 03 system. So obviously, for those of you who are wondering if this will run Vista, at the time of this video, this does not. There's no version for that out, at least from Axisflying. But anyway, if you guys are looking for something with a smaller footprint but similar power and speed as a 5-inch prop quad would have, this is what they're kind of targeting in terms of their audience. And this is not going to be anywhere close to being under 250 grams. For those of you that were like, oh, here's another micro, maybe it'll be under sub 250. This is going to be much closer in weight to a traditional 5-inch as seen here versus something like sub 250. So yeah, if you're hoping that this would be sub 250, sorry, I'll have another video and probably in about a week with something you guys will be very interested in. That'll be sub 250 for those of you guys that are more interested in that. But of course, with this being over 250 grams, it will require remote ID and registration at some point. But yeah, that's I guess it's up to the end pilot or the pilot to figure out. But it does not come with any of that stuff right now. Quick look at what you get in the box. You get this 3.6 inch prop from GemFan and in gray, and this is a new one I haven't seen before. It's a Hurricane 3630, and it says 3.6 by 3 by 3, and then you get a spare set in clear green. And for whatever reason, they went with 3.6 inches instead of 3.5 inches, probably to get a little bit more power out of the setup with this really big motor. I'll talk about that here in a second. In the box, when it came in the box with the props off, it has these little direction indicators mounted on the motor. It tells you which way the prop should go on. You get a spare battery pad, and it is one of those ones that are smooth now, so I think they switched over to a different vendor on their battery pads, so these are more sticky. And then you have some Allen wrenches here, and some zip ties and a screwdriver. So that's pretty much everything. In the bag was this little screw here for the GoPro mount, and I did fly with the Mini. They do advertise it will fly with the full-size GoPro. I think that's the full-size Hero 11 is like 20 grams more. This has plenty of power for that. It's actually super fast with this setup here. It's got these really huge 2204s, 2750 kV. So I'm running this on a 6S battery. Now, they're recommending an 1100 milliamp hour 6S battery. So I don't have anything that size. So I went with the 1300. This is one of these GMB sort of lightweight 6S batteries. So it weighs approximately the same as like one of those tattoos from like a year ago. That's at 1100. I think it's maybe like 5 grams more. So this was the one that's closest in weight to some of the 1100s out there. So I think this one does give you a little bit more runtime because it's a high volt battery. So I did run it with this one to get the kind of the weight in the recommended range, and then I ran with the Hero 11 Mini, and of course, you know, this is running the DJI 03 air system. 03 camera here. It's nice and well protected in this CNC aluminum front cage here, and then you have these silicone dampeners here so that there's almost no jello. There's a little bit, but it's hard to see. I'll link the raw videos down, full screen videos down in the video description. If you happen to see anything, please leave a comment and with a timestamp as to where you saw the jello. And then I have the raw footage from the GoPro as well, linked down below. And yeah, you guys can compare these and see which looks better to you. No ND filters in any of these, so obviously in bright sunlight, so if there's any jello to be seen, you should be able to see it. You can see here we have these covers. These are like 3D printed or something like that. I'm pretty sure that this is probably going to be changed later in production. They're just basically dust covers, nothing really in terms of performance. You got a USB-C port here for their Argus Mini stack. It's a 40 amp BL32 or 32-bit ESC. So these are the this is a 20 by 20 stack here. So you got 32-bit ESCs, 40 amp max, and then the flight controller is an F7 with MPU 6000 gyro. So you know, overall a pretty good flight stack. In the back here, we have a tiny little GPS. I didn't really test the GPS functions this one because I think, you know, you can probably fly this without a GoPro, and I think they were advertising 8 minutes of flight time, so I suppose you could do long range with this one. But the getting a lock on this one is where this is always a very it's just kind of a trial and error type of thing, and so I had to wait a really long time to get the first lock, and then it does not lock very quickly from where this is, and that's because quad manufacturers keep putting the GPS in the wrong place. This is not where it should go, because the VTX antennas are always going to be basically putting out so much radiation in terms of like RF noise that the GPS signal from space cannot get to this little antenna here that's being blocked by this larger antenna that's blasting away at 5.8 gigahertz. So I did not test GPS rescue in this one because mainly this is probably not going to work that well in this position. You probably can eventually get a lock, and then it will probably work, but not that it's going to be that effective. I wish they would put this somewhere else. In terms of the frame itself, this is what they're calling a squashed X frame. So if you look at it like this, it's a little closer here, front to back versus side to side. And you have, you know, your sort of traditional sandwich style here. They have these CNC aluminum pleats here for the bottom, and that holds the arms to the main bottom plate. And the arms are 4 millimeters thick. They're not that wide, so in a really hard crash, they're probably going to break at this weight level. And I'll talk about all the way here in a little bit. You have a 3 millimeter bottom plate and a 2 millimeter top plate. But I mean, yeah, it's about as robust as you can expect for how heavy this is. But I would not, in a really, really hard crash, I would not expect these arms to survive. But this design here is meant so you can just basically unscrew one screw, take the arm pieces out, and then swap in a new one. Of course, you got to unscrew the motor, assuming the motor's still alive. And they have these nice bumpers here for the arm to protect that motor. It's a nice wide motor here, and they have these landing feet so you're not landing on the screw. So that's pretty good too. So let's see how much everything weighs here. So this is, as flown, 633.6 grams. I have flown 5-inch quads with the GoPro and a 6S battery that I think I've flown a couple that weigh less than this. So this is a really beefy frame. Basically, you have a 3.6-inch frame here that weighs almost as much as a very light 5-inch frame. All right, so here's how much it weighs without the 6S battery. So now we're coming in at 440 grams. And so, yeah, if you're wondering, the 6S battery is 193.4 grams. All right, so here is how much it weighs without the GoPro on there. So just the quad by itself coming in at 307.5 grams. So if you're wondering who this might be for, they're targeting, I think, a specific market or specific audience here. And it's mainly people that want to fly something with a little bit smaller footprint. It's not, you're not saving any weight here over a 5-inch. You just basically have a slightly smaller footprint in terms of the, the motor to motor distance and, how big the props are. But you're, guys that are mainly looking for something like this, something like a 5-inch with 5-inch level of speed, but with a smaller footprint. That's basically who this is going to be for. So, if you're used to flying a 5-inch, but you want that same speed, because you can, there are other 3.5-inch quads out there that are lighter, but they're just not going to be as fast unless you have these really big beefy motors on here, these 2204s, and you're flying it on 6S, and you want to be able to carry a GoPro. So there are others out there that you don't have, maybe you could just run the O3 air unit and just get the footage from that, and you're happy with that. But if you want GoPro footage and you want to be able to carry a GoPro, then you got to go with a much heavier, bigger, beefier setup like this. And so then with the bigger motors, you get more speed, and then you get more weight, but then you have to add even more weight to the frame to beef it up so that you can handle anything in terms of a crash, and also any like motor vibrations don't get transmitted all over the place on the frame. So they beef up the frame even more, which adds even more weight. So obviously, for those of you guys that are, sub 250 fanatics, this is clearly not for you. But if you guys are, for those of you that don't care about sub 250 and, just want like something around, similar in performance to a 5-inch, but you want to be able to carry a GoPro, you just want a smaller footprint, then this is that sort of very niche kind of category for that type of pilot. Now, while it is about as fast as a regular 5-inch in terms of straight line speed, while it can do some like sort of freestyle moves and a little bit of acro, it's not going to be the same as an actual 5-inch with the much bigger props. Just even though it's got the big motor and everything, the smaller props just aren't as responsive in some of those freestyle type of moves where you can probably do some of them, but not some of the more difficult ones, and I wouldn't try them with something like this. It's just because you're throwing around a lot of weight, and if the props don't respond quick enough because they're not big enough, obviously, then you're going to run into some performance issues in terms of being able to accomplish some of those freestyle tricks. Anyway, overall, another nice build here from Axisflying. I really don't have complaints about their build. It's high quality. Everything worked out of the box. The PID tune worked well. Overall, the experience was, pretty good compared to most out there. And, it just really boils down to whether or not this is really going to be for you or not. And I know that there's people down there going down in the comments right now and yelling, "Oh, it's not for me. I need something that's sub 250. Well, hold on to your horses. Just wait about a week. I've got a special video coming out soon, and whether you might be interested in, for those of you guys that are specifically looking for sub 250, but don't have to carry a GoPro and want, just the footage from the DJI O3 Air unit. Anyway, that's going to cover for this video. Link down in the video description if you guys want to check this out. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. That'd be great. Really helps out the channel. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video.